everybody. This is Keith Gleason, creator of the Mighty Mascots, host of Indie Comics Relay, and promoter for the Plastic City Comic Con. And I'm here with another comic review. Before we get into that, just a reminder that Mighty Mascots 7, 8, and 9 still on Indiegogo in demand. 7, 8, and 9 coming up fast. We are almost done, all 3 issues. I have about half of issue 9 to letter. And then we'll be moving on to the final edits and proofreading phases, and then starting to look for a printer. So hopefully we'll be on the path to hitting our deadline in late summer and having these books out to you guys. So gonna be looking forward to that. All right. So this week's review, I'm actually reviewing my first, I believe, technically manga, and I don't know, do you consider manga indie comics? I know it's like killing Western comic sales right now. So I don't know if we consider it indie, although it kind of is indie to us because, it's a weird thing because we consider Marvel and DC to be the mainstream, so this would be kind of indie, I guess. I don't know. It's like, but it is Miyazaki, and I'm reviewing Shuna's Journey. So this is a 1-volume. I don't know how many pages. I would say 100. Yeah. Oh, actually, it's 160 pages. It's an illustrated novel / comic, I guess, is how you would put it. It's written and painted by Hayao Miyazaki, which you may know from all his animated films like Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle, things like that. And Shuna's Journey. And it's also translated by Alex Dudok DeWitt, I think is how you say it. And so let me read. This is also put out by First Second is the publisher. So let me read a synopsis for this for you guys without spoiling too much. From legendary animator Hayao Miyazaki comes Shuna's Journey, a new manga classic about a prince on a quest for a golden grain that would save his land. Never before published in English, Shuna, the prince of poor land, watches in despair as his people work themselves to death harvesting the little grain that grows there. And so when a traveler presents him with a sample of seeds from a mysterious Western land, he sets out to find the source of the golden grain. Dreaming of a better life for his subjects, it is not long before he meets a proud girl named Thea. After freeing her from captivity, he is pursued by her enemies, and while Thea escapes north, Shuna continues toward the west, finally reaching the land of the god folk. Will Shuna ever see Thea again? Will he make it home from his quest for the golden grain? Got to pick it up and find out. That's a great summary of what this story is. It's Hayao Miyazaki firing on all cylinders, and a lot of elements from this story you've seen in his work if you're a fan of his anime. This I guess so I did some research on this before I turned on the microphone and the video here. So this was actually, he created this back in like 1983 when he was still doing manga, and it was probably right before he formed Studio Ghibli. Maybe around the same time. I don't know. And it sounds like it was a property he was trying to make into an anime at some point, but it just never happened. Although elements from this definitely ended up in all his animes, like different little things. Like one example is Shuna, the prince, rides on this beast called the Yakul, which Yakul was in Princess Mononoke, but his name was Yakul, and he looks exactly the same. But in this book, the Yakul is considered like a breed of like horse, goat, whatever Yakul is actually is, But yeah, stuff like that is ended up in other anime. Like, I feel like if he made this into an anime now, it would feel like he was copying his other things because there's so many different elements. It reminded me a lot of Princess Mononoke with the god stuff. And then also with the grain, it kind of reminded me of like Spirited Away a little bit, and then Howl's Moving Castle, things like that. So there's definitely like little things in there. But the one thing I love about it is, so he wrote it and he did the artwork, but the artwork is this beautifully painted watercolor. So if you're a fan of if you're a fan of Miyazaki or just beautiful looking artwork, you should get this. Miyazaki did such a great job. I kind of wish he did more manga stuff. I found out he also did the Nausicaa Valley of the Wind manga, which he turned into a movie eventually, and that also has a lot of elements of Shuna's journey in it. And I think I'm going to pick that up because I did read that manga a long time ago when it was first coming out here in the US, which I think it was before Viz was putting out stuff. This was back in like when I was in high school, so you're talking like maybe 87, 88, around there. I remember it was coming out by the same company that was doing Akira and a couple of those other ones like Fist of the North Star. And I was reading Nausicaa that way, and it was great. And when the movie came out, I was on cloud nine. And at the time, I didn't know Miyazaki work, but every movie I seen by him, it affected me, especially like I think my ultimate favorite is Castle of Cagliostro, which also introduced me to the character Lupin the Third, which I'm very fond of. And I've been collecting Lupin the Third stuff since then, So I have great love for Miyazaki, and I love everything he's done, except for a couple odds and ends. Like I didn't really like. I never really cared for Porco Rosso or The Wind Rises. There's a couple I didn't like, but overall, I think 98%, like his stuff, so this is really good though. It's like different side of him. You get to see the artwork and you get to see him work in a new medium. So, and he didn't do many mangas, so it's kind of like a little treat to get. So the publisher First Second puts this out in a nice hardcover, smaller size book. I would say this might be 6x9 or a little bigger than that, just but right around that. Bigger than the normal manga size by a little bit. So, and it's in a nice hardcover, reads from back to front like most manga does. And it's so one purchase. So let me see, the price is $27.99, and you get the whole thing. 160 pages, hardcover, and a rare Miyazaki release. So I think it's worth it. You could probably get it for like a little less than that. I'm sure Amazon probably sells it for like 20 or less, and you could probably find some used copies for half of that. So I'd say pick it up. It's going to look better on, I think, a book than it is in digital. And the thing about this is it's kind of not, it's not 100% a comic. It's more like a picture book with comic elements in it. The best example I could give is there was a comic storybook thing from Image a few years ago by Scott Snyder and Jeff Lemire called After Death. AD After Death is a very similar in style to that, where there would be sections of text, and then also there would be like pages where it would be in comic sequences. So with this though, it's more like you get a 2-page spread of nice watercolor image, and then there would be some text in the corner or up in the upper left or something like that. So it's got a very storybook quality, and then there's like I said, a couple pages mixed with comics and stuff like that. But I wouldn't expect any less from Miyazaki to do something different, than the traditional comic book. But I remember his Nausicaa stuff was definitely a traditional manga, and I believe he wrote and drew that. So I'm going to rebuy those at some point. I know Amazon put those out in a nice 2-volume hardcover sets. I'm going to get those at some point and reread them just because I'm such a huge fan, of Studio Ghibli and him especially. So, but yeah, I'd say check that out. Let me see if there's any other elements I had here that I wanted to. Oh yeah, the one other thing I wanted to note when I was doing some searching on this, that when he wrote this, he based the story on a Tibetan folk tale, which was kind of interesting. So if you're into that kind of philosophy, or those kind of, it was based on, I forget what it was called, like The Man and the Dog or something like that. It was, it was very interesting. But Shuna's Journey, this is our first manga review. I give this one a thumbs up. Definitely worth your time and money. And if you haven't seen any of Hayao Miyazaki's animes, do yourself a treat. Either go buy a couple of the Blu-rays or go to HBO Max. I believe they have a good chunk of his catalog on there. And I recommend, all the top ones: Spirited Away, Castle of Cagliostro, especially if you like Lupin the Third. That one, Castle in the Sky, Nazca, uh, Totoro, all of those. Kiki's Delivery Service is great. So yeah, so check those out. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in for this review. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notification, and join us every other Monday night at 8:30 p.m. for our live stream. Me and Johnny always have a rotating guests of indie comics coming on the show, promoting their books and just talking comics in general. So we have a great time. So join us for those. And most importantly, everybody, read some comics. All right. Have a great day. Have a great week. And we will talk to you later. All right.